Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. A lot of things going on in the world. NFL, interesting season. My Raiders have been officially eliminated from playoffs, and the season is mercifully over. Thankfully, looks like Carr is probably going to lose his position because of it, but hopefully ends up with a team that actually appreciates him and leads him to a Super Bowl. Be interesting to see what happens because he has a no trade clause written into his contract, so he can basically veto almost any trade offer that they send his way. It'll require his approval. So really interestingly structured contract. Whoever negotiated that contract, I'd love to have him as an agent. Tell you the truth. So he got a nice contract there. Nice extension, nice contract. He's gonna get paid regardless. It's that's why they benched him in the first place, was to possibly make sure that obviously he didn't get injured, because if he did, that's guaranteed money. They would have to pay him, and they didn't want to decrease his value in a trade to make him less marketable to other teams. So, I mean, from a financial standpoint, it's a sound strategy on the team's part, but just from a human standpoint, it's a real crappy thing to do to somebody who's statistically your best quarterback in your history of your franchise. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, Carr might just veto every single offer. They might have to release him, and I don't know how that is affecting. Going to affect, I should say, their salary structure and their salary cap. That might just wreak havoc with it. I don't know. Like I say, though, I do wish him the absolute best, and I hope he, ends up, if he leaves the Raiders, ends up going to a team that appreciates him. Because it wouldn't shock me at all. I said this months ago that they're probably going to make a play for Brady, and not surprising. And if that's the case, that puts kind of puts Tampa Bay in the whole scrum to see who gets Carr. So they might actually be switching places for all you know. Carr to Tampa Bay and Brady to the Raiders, which is going to be hard for me to watch, to tell you the truth. And tell you the truth, I don't know if he's going to do a whole lot better within this offense. Anyway, I know he knows it well enough, but like back of his hand, I should say, with McDaniels running the show. But eventually, Father Time is going to catch up to Tom Brady, and he's not going to be able to play at the level he's been playing. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it will happen. And then what do the Raiders do for their future? They've got to draft high a quarterback, and they don't have as high draft positioning as they did before, so it's going to be interesting. I don't think they need a whole lot of extra components. They've got to focus on that offensive line and the defensive line. They've got to get some defensive tackles, and they've got to get some offensive linemen in there, because that line just looks horrible. And the teams that have had the greatest luck against them have been the ones that have been able to run right up the middle, and which means their interior and that defensive line is not very good. But then again, also a lot of teams have had a lot of luck against them just because Graham is a horrible defensive play caller. I mean, they've been in situations where they should have been in zone coverage. They were in man-to-man situations where they should have been man-to-man. They were in zone, et cetera, et cetera. When they should have been aggressive, they weren't. When they should have been a little bit more passive and back on their heels, they weren't. So, it's, a lot of the leads that were blown were due to really poor defensive play calling, and I think Graham needs to lose his job. End of story, because they do have some good pieces in there right now. How you don't get more pass rushing pressure out of Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. That tells me they're double teaming them, doing whatever they want with the middle, because the middle of that line is not very good. So, that's that kind of thing. And Jarrett Stidham played his heart out against the Niners. Looked bad against the Chiefs. Chiefs have a good defense, but it's now nowhere near as the Niners. Where Niners just not prepared to see Stidham and they should have been. And even if they weren't, it's still the same offense. So, I just think Stidham played his heart out. And Stidham is a good player. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He played incredible in preseason, but preseason is preseason. And just kind of shocking to events, that he would play as poorly as he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. So, granted, I will say that he had very little support on the offensive line, but just the same, he should have done better than he did. He didn't look good at all. Some bad decision making on his part too, out there. So, but wherever Derek Carr goes, like I say, it might be trading places with Brady. Who knows? It might be going to the Tampa Bay, but wherever he goes, I wish him the absolute best. He deserved a lot better than he did from this organization. He deserved a lot more support from this organization. And to tell you the truth, he's probably just tired and worn out from getting his butt whipped every single season and not having a stable situation to rely on. Wrestling world, we're in that kind of lull. We're, right before Royal Rumble, then WrestleMania. Should be some things leading up to WrestleMania, but it's kind of getting started off kind of slowly here. Some entertaining stuff going on. I'm still loving the stuff they're doing, that WWE is doing with the Dominic Mysterio. I think some of that stuff is absolutely hilarious. The whole jail thing where he spent like one night in a holding cell, and now he's a hardened criminal with a tear tattoo and everything to match. I think that's absolutely amazing. Great. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It just helps develop that scumbag character that Dominic Mysterio, I should say, has been developing, and now we have Karrion Kross going after Rey, and I think Rey's gonna help elevate Kross. I think that's a good choice to have him in a program against Kross. I think that'll work out well. Let's see, we got still continuing the LA Knight Bray Wyatt thing, looking forward to seeing what's going on there. And I'm trying to think. Like I said, a lot of kind of a lull going on. We had a Ricochet beat Top Dollar to get into the Royal Rumble. And I was talking to a friend about that, and he was kind of mentioning, well, why did that even happen, kind of thing. And I'm wondering if they're a lot of that type of stuff happened when Vince was in charge. He would rib guys like that with having them beaten out by lesser guys, kind of thing, in their opinion, kind of thing, just to humble guys. And I wonder if that was kind of a humbling thing for Top Dollar, because, man, they've been trying to promote this guy and build him up, and I think he never should have been re-signed to the company. It's just, I look at him as a liability, kind of, not really impressing me at all. As far as, let's see, what else is happening in AEW? Darby Allin got his TNT belt back, got that off of Samoa Joe. I don't mind that so much. I liked Darby's run as TNT champion. It was fun. So he's been kind of in a lull lately. Kind of weird spot for him. He's kind of been pushed down the card when he should have been kind of one of the building blocks and foundation. They kind of view him, MJF, him, Jungle Boy is kind of the cornerstones of AEW. So interesting. I kind of view him. He's kind of like their version of Jeff Hardy, but I almost kind of view him as an upper mid-carder who could surprise some people in the heavyweight, the upper tier line. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of his, and I love his matches, and I love watching him. But still, he's still not real believable going up against some of these guys. You see him against like a Brian Cage or a Lance Archer, and he just looks like a midget in comparison. But then again, so did Rey Mysterio when he won the title. So, for WWE. So could it happen down the road? Yeah, he could get that championship. But, we continue this thing with the Elite, and man, I'm just so over the Elite. I'm sorry. Part of me is kind of hoping that this. Okay, so if they take the 6-man championships, and then I would love to see. I know it will never happen. I really know it will never happen, but it would crack me up so much if Punk comes back and forms a 3-man team and takes, like with FTR, let's say, and comes back. I would love to have this whole Punk thing work because I miss CM Punk. And I really want to see the Elite off my television. Really, they're annoying the crap out of me. I'm sorry, and they've taken one of my favorite songs and made it unlistenable to me. So it's not good. I mean, these guys do not belong on TV. I'm sorry, and they came back as being viewed as returning heroes, and they were equally involved in that scrum. I mean, they initiated the whole process. They came to Punk's door and initiated the entire fight. So why are they coming back and being viewed this way? It's idiotic. And I know I've said that a million times, but it really is. And I really hate seeing it. Man, like I said, fantasy booking for me is bring back Punk and have him take those titles off of those idiots. I know I said I like Don Callis from the last show, but I wouldn't mind him managing somebody else. I know he's best buddies with Kenny Omega and whatnot, but man, I'm done with the Elite. Sorry, I'm just done with the Young Bucks. I'm done with all these people. Let's see. I guess the match between Hangman Page and Mox has been cleared and all that. So he's gone through the concussion protocol. So that's gonna be good. Hangman delivering a little bit better promos lately. I like I like the promo where he talked about looking at was it his son and not being able to remember his name. Man, that being a father, that really did touch some heartstrings right there, and I did like that promo. I hope he continues on this streak being a much more kind of real Hangman Page, because he's blown it in the past. His title run was the worst title run, I think, of AEW. He's been the worst champion they've had yet, and he's been kind of lackadaisical, and that needs his whole attitude, his whole work ethic, and everything needs to change. When he tried to shoot and flip the script on Punk, that was embarrassing and just awful. And even you could watch Punk was trying to guide him through it, and he just kind of fumbled his way through it and went into business on his own, and that really made me lose a ton of respect for Hangman Page because I really liked him up until that point. So that's awful. That's too bad. Let's see what else is in the news. Oh, hey, Vince McMahon released a statement regarding coming back to the board to facilitate a possible sale. There are a few things that bother me about this. There are a few things that I have questions about, especially having stock in WWE. I have some very important questions. First off, the fact that Vince McMahon did a press release and not WWE bothers the heck out of me. why did Vince initiate the communication to the media regarding this, as opposed to officials from WWE, whether it be Stephanie or Nick Khan or Triple H? That right off the bat raised a ton of questions for me, and I don't hear anyone questioning that or challenging that, and that bothers me. Is this something that, I mean, Vince still, to the best of my knowledge, is still a majority shareholder. So technically, he really is the majority owner of the company, even though he's not the chairman or the CEO. And coming back into this onto the board, he will not have any official position within the company. So he will not be heading up creative. He will not be CEO, will not be COO or any type of chief operating officer, which is an awesome thing. Now, like I mentioned, why did he initiate communication to the media, to the public? I don't have an answer for that. If someone does, please comment and tell me why this was. Why did this occur this way? And I've not heard any other podcasters or dirt sheets question this or challenge that. So did he initiate the process himself for the possible sale? Was this brought on from coercion from within the WWE itself? I don't know. Those are questions I think that need to be answered. I should say, there was a spike went after this announcement. Why was there a spike in the stock after this announcement? I know there was interest peaked and whatnot. It kind of makes me question the current shareholders. What's going to happen if a corporation such as Disney or NBC purchases WWE? If there's a lawyer or anyone out there, please, like I said, please comment and answer these questions, because I would love to hear the answer to these questions. Like I said, especially being a shareholder. Even as little as I do have, I might even have like one. I don't know. I'd have to, but if a larger corporation such as Disney or NBC or any other organization purchases the WWE, what will happen to the shareholders? Will they be cut a check? Will they be offered an option to purchase shares of that larger company equivalent to their existing shares? I don't know the answer to these questions. I'd like to know. I don't know if they'll be releasing a statement to the shareholders. I don't know if they'll be holding a meeting. Like I said, these are all things I need to know. If they're purchased by Disney, let's say, for instance, somebody like myself who's a very small shareholder would not be equivalent to Disney's existing stock price. Would they just simply cut a check for those shares? Like I said, these are all important questions that I need to know. And maybe we'll see those answers coming up. I don't know. Maybe they'll be in a board meeting. I don't know. Hopefully it's a public one, or one that I can at least attend view. Once again, these are questions that need to be answered. If the sale does fall through, if there doesn't end up being a sale, will the stock plummet? Will it devalue the stock? Here's a fantasy kind of booking I had in my mind, which, what if, and this is like a huge from out in left field fantasy thing, I don't know, what if Vince bought up the remaining shares and was able, I don't know if stockholders would hold out, but what if he was able to somehow buy up the remaining shares and make it into a private company? Is that a legal possibility? That's another, like I said, that is something that needs to be answered. And if he does that, would I just get a check for the remaining amount, and then it would just be a private company going forth? I don't know. It seemed kind of silly, and not very advantageous from a strategic and financial viewpoint, but it's always a possibility. Like I said, I don't know if that's even legal to do, but that's something that occurred to me. So these are all things that I desperately need answered. And like I said, if there's anybody that has answers to these questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see the comments below, whether it be in Spotify, YouTube, wherever. Just comment. Because those are things that need to be answered. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal. I'm not a broker. I don't know the legalities of a sale of a corporation. So these are all things that I think need to be answered. Because the fact that I haven't seen a public statement from WWE makes me kind of worried about the whole process, and makes me wonder who initiated this process. Was it a situation where, in private, Stephanie kind of went up to Vince and said, "Hey, maybe it's time to step aside and sell your shares, and try to sell it to the WWE to a larger company. It might be more profitable." I don't know. I mean, they're still under contract to Peacock, so I don't know how many more years. It's like 3 or 4, I think. So there's a lot of stuff, and I'm sure that could be bought out by a larger corporation such as Disney. Personally, I think NBC with the Peacock station streaming service has done an absolutely horrible job of converting over and bringing over the WWE network. The WWE network was very very easy to search. It was very very well organized, and it had a lot more footage on it than Peacock's currently has with the WWE network. So, in my opinion, the only good thing I've seen so far is that it's available at a reduced cost, but the product itself, in my opinion, is reduced. So I'm not real happy with what they've done with the WWE network. But like I said, these are all things that need to be answered. And if Disney was able to purchase it, would that be incorporated into their Disney Plus, or would it be put out there as a separate streaming service? These are all things that we need to find out. As fans and as people have a vested interest within the company. These are all things that are very important, need to be found out. So yeah, like I said, if there's any discussion and I haven't heard any other podcasters address this issue, and that bothers me. If maybe they have, I just haven't been listening to a lot of podcasts because of time constraints. But yeah, these are all things that I'd like to see an answer to. Aside from that, thank you for listening. Like I said, these are all my concerns. I really need an answer to, and there might be some coming up. I don't know, but thank you for tuning in, and like to send a shout out to ourselves, CrushingKayfabe.com, Crushing Kayfabe with a K. Check us out there, and you can find links to like our Patreon.com page, patreon.com. Go on there and search for Crushing Kayfabe, Crushing with a K. And for just $1 a month, you can get all of the either the podcast or the video, the audio or video, ad free. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I wanted to make it affordable for everybody, so I figured $1 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. It's much less than a cup of coffee. You could buy can't buy a whole lot for $1. With you can buy 4 subscriptions for the price of 1 Starbucks coffee. So check Patreon.com out and become a patron, please, if you like the podcast. Other than that, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, please. And let's see, we got check out Then Now in Trenton, Then Now Flea Market, where you can purchase some of our goods, purchase my CDs, purchase some handmade items from my wife Jenna. Check her out online, Hooked by Jenna Lynn. Check her out on Facebook. But yeah, check them out Then Now, and check out Trenton Tabletop and Arcade. They're in downtown Trenton, Tennessee. They just got a pool table, and which has just been assembled, and they're gonna start renting out for parties. So if you want to approach them and ask them about renting out for a birthday party or whatnot, please, find them on Facebook, find them online, and reach out to them, please. A really nice place with a great owner. So like I said, it's been a long time since I used to spend a lot of time as a kid in an arcade, and a lot of my youth was spent in an arcade. So it's kind of a blast for the past for me, and I'm so glad that he's doing it because I like the whole way he's got everything set up, and it's a space where you can do tabletop gaming also, which is really important. If you're into playing Dungeons and Dragons or wargaming, Warhammer 40K or whatever, go down there and rent a table. That way you don't have to, don't have to bother your spouse or whatever. You can just bring them over there and play some tabletop games, and if I'm not mistaken, he's offering chess lessons too there. So if you ever wanted to learn the game of chess, approach him for that and ask about that. Tell him Crushing Kayfabe sent you. But once again, thanks everybody for listening. Prayers go out to the Ukraine as always. Send that financial support to the legitimate organizations that can help out, and don't stop sending support and prayers out to them. They need it. The Ukrainian people deserve their freedom too. But once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and God bless.